And a jolly good morning to you from a rather bright but slightly cool for the time of year June morning here in Kent, England, more specifically outside Rochester station, a famous old historic town which is well worthy of a visit in its own right. And I've got a couple of other videos already out on YouTube doing just that, and some more to come in the future. But today is going to be an A to B walk, and I'm going to be walking from here in Rochester via Chatham to JIL-ing-əm. It's approximately 3 miles. It's mostly uphill but not particularly steep, for most of it at least anyway, and should take around about 1 hour. So it's a nice little walk that I could just fit into my schedule today. So let's go, let's see what we see along the way. And as I say, Rochester has got a lot to offer, including this busy road, and there's certainly a lovely old high street just over there, which is well worth a little meander through. Lots of cafes and bars and some interesting shops to go and look at, so consider that if you're in the area. JIL-ing-əm, on the other hand, possibly hasn't got quite so much for the intrepid tourist, but it's an interesting town, as is Chatham in its own right. So I'm going to make the little walk today. This is just purely about going for a walk, seeing what we see along the way, and getting some exercise, of course. You see the Eagle Tavern up there. A little bit early for all that sort of thing, but once I get to JIL-ing-əm, I should be walking down the centre back to the railway station there, and I'll be able to pop in and get a coffee there. Or pop into somewhere and get a coffee anyway. Obviously this isn't the ideal way of beginning the walk next to this busy road. So you could walk back from the station towards the castle and the cathedral and walk up the high street, which runs parallel to this. You would need to add on a bit of time. Unfortunately, time that I haven't actually got today. I've only really got enough time to take the quickest route, which is this way. But certainly I'd urge you, if you're going to come to this part of the world, to allow some time to visit the city centre itself. So that's where the most interesting part of the high street comes out there, where that lorry's coming. And if you'd walked along there, you'd just continue onto the high street here, which is what you might describe as not quite as interesting part of the high street, but it's still the high street all the same. And in fact, up here is where the original Rochester railway station used to be. The one I've just come out of back there is, for railways at least, relatively new, and was designed or moved so they could have longer platforms for longer trains, which wasn't possible at this station apparently. The Medway little theatre just ahead as well. And that is the old Rochester railway station just there. I think you'll probably agree it certainly looks nicer than the newer one. But that's always the case, isn't it? The Nag's Head there must have been there a while, as the lane next to it is called Nag's Head Lane. So I'm presuming the lane was named after the Nag's Head. No date on it though. Quite often these older pubs have got a date when they were there from, or a plaque. Can't see that from here. Just going to be walking underneath the railway line now. That's the line, in fact, from that's going to Chatham and Gillingham, so I'll be kind of shadowing that most of the way. The North Foreland, I think that's called, the pub. Interesting old houses here that are now shops underneath, or restaurants, cafes, etc. Still on the high street, and yeah, it's quite a long high street if you add in the older, more historical part of it. A lot of old coaching inns here, I would imagine, back in the day. Certainly a lot of pubs here along this section now, and restaurants that used to be pubs, and buildings that clearly used to be pubs or coaching inns a long time ago, because this is the route they would have all taken, heading towards London from the Kent coast. And just through there, that's how close we are to the River Medway, right by the water, and the Lion Brewery there. A lot of history around this part of Kent. Some of it's been let's say made to look a bit too industrial, but a lot of the interesting stuff still remains. And I think we're just getting to the point now where we officially leave Rochester and enter Chatham, with no real discernible gap between the two. That used to be a bank. B&M, just see through there to the water, pier chambers. A lot of history here in Chatham, naval dockyards. Well, they used to make rope as well, maybe they still do. Was it Chatham? Make rope, proper rope. A lot of noise in this town this morning. Just getting into what you would class as the centre of Chatham, where the main shops are, banks, central theatre over there, and taking a left here down Military Road and Railway Street. Just goes to show, just see the sign up here, sign to the Chatham Historic Dockyard, Brook Theatre, Great Lines Heritage Park, which we will be walking through, I believe, on our way back to JIL-ing-əm, and then signs back towards Rochester and the River Medway. So just heading down Military Road now. What can you say about Chatham, really? It's a little bit rough around the edges in parts. You can see the history beneath the surface, and a lot of historical buildings repurposed, is that the term, into something different now from what they used to be used for. It's the same everywhere, really. And I think we're heading on up there somewhere. This area is closed off for some reason. It was routed right the way through there, these gardens, the paddock. I don't know what they're doing to it, but I've just got to walk around it, just over here by the bus station. The app I'm using doesn't seem to know that this place is shut, and had it done, or had I known in advance, I'd have taken a walk through the Pentagon shopping centre, I think, and come out over there somewhere. But as it is, I've managed to circle my way around and through the bus station, and we're going to go Whiffins Avenue now. This is where we start to go up fairly steep hills, I do believe, for a while. There's lots of references here to the military and naval dockyards. The Gurkhas there. There's a Nepalese restaurant. And this road here is called Rope Walk. And this is the Town Hall Gardens, and as you can see, the shortcut straight across the grass is well used, as there's no grass there anymore. Nice explanation there as to what you can see in here, and a bit of a historical timeline as well, when the town hall was built, etc. And I think we'll get a slightly better view when we get a bit further up. The fancy flats there are called Garrison Point. Presumably at one time there was a garrison there. I'm sure it didn't look like that. I'm using the Go Jauntly app today, one I regularly use for these sort of A to B type walks, which normally offers you a sort of a Google Maps quickest way to get there type of route, and then what they call the green route, which tends to take you on a slightly more windy route, which should be a bit further and take a bit longer, but take you through nice green parks and places like this. So I always tend to go to those as long as time permits. If I'm short of time, I quite often have to stick rigidly to what the app is telling me to do to make sure I keep to that schedule. If I've got a bit more time on my hands, I can sometimes deviate away from it and reset it up from where I end up and work it like that. But there was a path going off in that sort of direction over there that I was hoping it was going to send me, but it hasn't done, although I might end up joining up with it further along. This is quite often the way. A lot of gravestones up against the wall here. Very, very, very old gravestones. And so it came to pass. I could have taken that other pathway. The one the app sent me has just sent me on a slightly deviated route, which is fine. Racced School, how would you say that? Racced School. Certainly looks derelict and closed down now. Not quite sure why I was sent that way by the app, but anyway, this is where I'd have come from had I took the other route, and we're back on that path now, so it's good. It's quite steep actually, and the pollen's quite high today, which is why I'm a little bit wheezy sounding. But it's a nice healthy walk up this hill anyway. Wow! Someone did tell me it was quite steep going in this direction. That's the Chatham Naval Memorial. Very fine it looks too. Keep going upwards. Lots of nettles here. Excellent if you want to make some nettle tea or nettle wine. Get your big basket up here and a pair of gloves on and pick a few of those. Above dog height, I would recommend. According to the map, I've just walked over the line that shows me has been 50 metres above sea level, and as the river down there is essentially sea level, that gives you a kind of an idea. As you approach London from a long way out, obviously you reach the Thames at pretty much sea level, and you walk in from frequently 100 metres or so, twice as high as I am now, which is why you get quite good views from the outskirts of London into the city and see it nestling there by the River Thames. Right, well I can see Gillingham over in the distance behind those trees, and so I'm thinking I'm probably at the highest point now, and it's going to be a relatively leisurely little walk back down into Gillingham. I hope so anyway. It's got quite warm now. It was a little bit cool earlier on, but considering it's June, it is still cool, but not as certainly not as warm as it should be this time of year. This is very nice up here. It's beautiful. Nice to see the grass has been allowed to just do its thing to help out all the wildlife, butterflies and insects and so on, the birds. And once we've got past this very top section, I can see it's cut down to a more normal park type arrangement with grass, so a bit of both here. This is certainly a very wide expanse, really nice. Great Lines Heritage Park it's called. It's the app's sending me in this direction rather than down that path there, but I shall follow as I normally do and see where this brings me out. This would certainly be an absolutely fabulous park for running round. Good surface to run on, and plenty of space, not going to get in anyone's way, or more importantly, no one's going to get in your way, and some quite reasonable undulations, some hills to go up and down, which is, as you know, that is always good when you're trying to get your fitness up. About 2/3 of the way now, and I'm sort of thinking I'm probably actually in Gillingham now rather than Chatham. I think once you get over the top of this hill, you enter Gillingham, which I imagine is just ahead of me, but still probably about a mile or so to go to get back to the railway station, maybe slightly more. So just crossing on to Stafford Street, seem to have left the park behind, and just going to make our way through the fine streets of Gillingham back to the centre. Just crossed over Canterbury Street, which presumably ultimately leads to Canterbury. It is roughly in that direction, which is a very famous city and not too far away from here. I've got one or two other videos on my channel including Canterbury. I've got a walk from Folkestone to Dover coming up soon as well. So if you like any of this sort of stuff, click on the like if you don't mind, and maybe press subscribe. Doesn't cost anything, and YouTube will then let you know when more videos are released. But there's quite a few for you to go and have a look at if you check out the channel of walks here, there and all over the place, including Europe and beyond. The great thing that you use when you use a walking app, as opposed to just relying on Google Maps, is they send you down little alleyways that kind of look like you maybe shouldn't be going down them, or they're just going to come to a dead end. Sometimes that turns out to be the case, but it's not a great sight, is it, there, to be fair. But you do get sent down little alleyways sometimes, even if you do come across some rather thoughtless dumping of rubbish and things like that, which is one of my pet hates, I have to say. But, hopefully this alley will lead out to something. Right on to Randolph Road now, and yeah, that little alleyway was a nice little shortcut. Also seems to be a nice little area where people go and dump their rubbish, and for once it's not vehicle bound fly tippers, because you wouldn't get a vehicle down there, but someone's literally just chucked stuff over their fence and into the alleyway, which is really poor form, I'm afraid to say. And almost as if by magic, we turn onto this street here, and right ahead of me is JIL-ing-əm station. And I'd say that walk has taken me, yeah, pretty much bang on an hour. Didn't really stop to look at too much along the way. That was a nice walk over the hill, and particularly in the park up where the old garrisons used to be. There's plenty of history around here if you want to spend some time in some of these towns, Rochester and Chatham in particular, to look at some of the historic stuff. And JIL-ing-əm maybe not quite so, but I'm sure there is stuff here too worthy of a look at. So that's that for today. Just a short one really, 1 hour, 2.5 to 3 mile walk between two Medway towns, stopping, well, going through one along the way. They're very close together. If you travel by train between the two, it just takes a matter of minutes, and obviously that's another option you could take, walk in one direction and get the train back in the other, or I presume there's buses too if you wanted to do that. Anyway, that's all for now. I'm going to go and grab a coffee before I go and get my train in about half an hour's time, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon. Cheers for now, bye.